If you want to get ahead and start working on your lab chapter 2, you can go ahead and do that. So obviously you need to read chapter 2, and then you're just going to go step by step and following the directions that are here on Canvas. So starting here, get familiar with these terms that you should have learned already in Typography 1. Then you go to page 37, create an example of each of these terms. You've got font classification, same thing. You're just going to want to show examples for that. Create a specimen book. Do something creative with a quote. And then I'm going to show you an example of what my expectations are. So remember that we are going to be putting now all of our work into our process book right away and as we do the work. So here is a sample of how you could put this exercise right into your process book. Now you don't need to do it the way that I did it. In fact, I would prefer that you did not. I just happen to really want to explore the type fully, so I wanted to have the alphabet all printed out. Sometimes I did all of the numbers. You could also do a sentence that uses all of the alphabet. But I want you to do a little bit more, enough that you can actually start seeing what the letters look like. So here is page 37. I use Mrs. Ives, and I use Mrs. Ives because I did some research and I wanted to find a typeface that came with a lot of different variants and a lot of different characters. So I went on to Adobe Type and I just went through the fonts until I found some that would say, how many fonts were in the family. And if there were 24 fonts in the family, then I knew that I'd have a lot of options. So Mrs. Ives had a lot of options, a lot more actually than I thought it did. Another typeface is Helvetica will have a lot of options. So will Univers. But try to pick something you've never worked with before. Pick a typeface you've always wanted to use for this exercise, something that you want to explore, maybe even something that you're thinking about using for your booklet. So again, here I just went through all the directions on the exercise, lowercase, uppercase, small caps. Mrs. Ives has really beautiful small caps because they were actually built to be small caps. Sometimes small caps are just, the typeface is just smaller. A true small cap, the letters will actually change their shape based on being small caps. And here Mrs. Ives actually, it has a petite version as well as a regular version. Let's see, these are, lining figures is when the numbers go up and down. Old style figures are when they have the same height and the bottom is the same, the baseline is the same. I had no idea Mrs. Ives had so many great ligatures, which are they're just beautiful. Again, you're just going to go through and just whatever typeface you pick, go ahead and find these terms. On the next page, go ahead and do a Google search. If you don't know old style typeface, just Google it and find one. And again, work with something you've never worked before so that you're actually adding some type styles to your go-tos. We all get kind of stuck in using the same typefaces. I wanted to specifically show you here the Mr. Ives italic as compared to the regular, because this is a true italic. Look how the letters change. It's not just tilted. The letters actually change to make the italic, and that's what can make a really beautiful italic. Let's see. For this one, this is one of my favorite slab serifs. It comes in lots of different weights, so I use that one. Optima is a really funny typeface because it's like a serif without the serifs, with all the thick and thins of it. Franklin Gothic, I used it before I knew that it was in the book. So again, I don't really want you to pick the typefaces that are already in the book or the ones I've picked. I want you to explore a little bit. Again, just follow the directions, looking for the difference between a serif and sans serifs, explore some different weights, find a typeface that comes in all different widths. Here, this one was a little bit confusing even for me about why we were doing posture again, But it was really to explore the oblique and the script. We've already done the italic. I also want you to name out what the typeface is here on these kind of shorter exercises. I went ahead and I named the typeface because, again, if you don't remember the typeface you use, then you won't ever use it again, or put it in your toolbox. This is very interesting. I want you to put the rules above this on the X height, so you can really compare the X heights of the different typefaces. Also did the stresses on this one. Now this is the page where you're going to do a full family, and I chose a typeface I have never used before, and it's interesting just how thin it actually is in places. On this typeface, what they do have too is I have this version over here, and this version here is actually even thinner than the regular version, and it's meant to be used at very large sizes because they want to keep that thinness even when it gets really large. And then I picked a font that just came with a lot of different characters. It even has this geometric character. And then the next page, now I went overboard on this. I don't expect you to go this much, but what I want you to do is take one of your favorite quotes, favorite sayings, part of a poem, something like that, and I want you to express it in typography. So you're going to play with size, or you're going to play with posture or spacing. Whatever you do, you're going to make that type bring the poem or the quote to life by the way you typeset it. And then I always have a little closing to my process books. And again, I really don't want you to copy what I've done. I want you to do something that you want to do, something that will make your process book creative and interesting, and also something that you can continue throughout the semester, because all of your work is going to go in your process book, and all of your work should be clean and designed well and be able to show to a client.